Alright, update on removing the intake manifold from a 2009 Nissan Rogue. As you can see, well, you actually can't see, but it's loose. I already loosened it up so that I can get to my stripped bolt. Okay, my valve cover bolt. So this was a pain. Alright, so I should have recorded how to go ahead and take care of it, or how to remove it, I should say. But step one, what I did to remove the intake manifold. Step one was to remove what would be your battery, the air housing. So you can see there's no air housing here. Okay, and then your electronic throttle body, which is here. I didn't have to disconnect it because all I was doing was just going to be moving around. So you got to free up this area. So this area is free, and the reason why it's free is because you actually have to work behind it to get the bolt. So once this area was cleared, and once I was able to do that, I decided to go ahead and next thing to do was to remove a nut. So there's going to be this nut. So as you can see, that stud right there, that's a nut there. So I remove that nut. On the other side, you're also going to have a nut there as well. So that's two. And then you have to remove three bolts. Those were the most complicated ones. You're going to have one at the bottom over here. You're going to have one directly. If you follow this directly to the back, you'll be able to feel it, but you have to feel it with your hand. As you can see, I don't know if you can see it here, but you can actually see the part where the stud goes. I mean, you can see it right. It's very tough to see, but right there is like the little opening over there. In here. Okay, so you have one about 3-4 inch bolt. You have the other one here, and you have the one at the bottom. So those are very hard to get to. So once I removed everything here, right? Once I removed everything here, I went ahead and I took the two nuts off. The nut that I showed you on the left, the nut that I showed you right over here on the right. But there's going to be an actual bracket. There's an actual bracket that holds what is known as your, what that holds this. Where did it go? Anyways, but there's a bracket that holds everything up here. And that bracket was the tough bracket to take. It's actually right here. This is the actual bracket. So this bracket sits like this. Okay? It sits like that. And you're unable to take the intake manifold off without taking off that bracket because it won't let you slide it out. It's still being held in. So after hours of struggling, what I realized is that I had to remove that coolant line. So you can see that coolant line right there. That's the coolant line. And right on the other side of the coolant line, right here is where your bolts would be. 13mm bolts. So I took two 13mm bolts out. I was able to use the step stool, go underneath, go through here, through the back, and finally able to take off the bolts. So now you can see that the intake manifold has been taken off. Feel free to comment if you need a little bit more instructions on how to take it off, but it is a pain. Today's project is going to be to try to take off that stripped valve cover bolt.